Hey everybody, I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I'm going to say it a million times. 2022 is a fantastic year for books. And lucky for me, some of my favorite authors all have books that are coming out now or coming out very, very soon over the rest of the year. And it is so exciting. And I can't wait to read them, and I cannot wait to tell you all about them. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. It is very warm in Northern California and the windows are shut, the air conditioner is on. It is going to be a warm spell, as I have been told. As you may know, if you follow me on any other social media, I am deep into the Booker 2022 long list. I've read 11 of the 13 books. I'm halfway through book number 12. Book 13 is on its way to me, so I'm almost done with that amazing list of books. And of course, I will tell you all about it when I am finished. And yeah, reading has been really good. It has been busy, but I am really enjoying life, and I hope you are too. And I am so lucky. So many of my favorite authors have books that have just come out or are coming out for the rest of the year. And many of them have wound up at my house. And it is so exciting. And I can't wait to tell you all about them. So get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you're so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore. You know they need us. I always say it and we all know it now more than ever because, you know, we always do. And then libraries, they need you too. So if you are a library user, request your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. We're going to start with the first books that are actually already out. They came out in August, and then we're going to go through the rest of the year. So that's how I have them organized. And the first book we're going to talk about is actually a book that's been very much talked about right now, and that's The Many Daughters of Afong out by Jamie Ford, out from Atria Books, and it was just picked up as a read by Jenna Choice. Very exciting for Jamie and his new book. This is Jamie's fourth book, I believe. You know, in your head, I think, yes, this is his fourth book. I have read all of them. His first book made a big splash, Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. You may remember it was a book club darling. And I've actually met Jamie a couple of times. We're Facebook friends. So clearly, you know, I'm best friends with him. But he is an amazing person. He's very funny. And I want to congratulate him with all the success that this book has done. It's already on the New York Times bestseller list. And I've heard there's talk of turning it into either a TV show or a movie or something like that. So congratulations, Jamie. So The Many Daughters of Afong, it starts as a story of a mother and daughter. Our main character is an artist, and she's used a lot of the difficulties in her life, her mental health struggles, to create art. She's an artist. And she sees and starts to see that her daughter is starting to struggle with some of the same things that she struggles with. And so she decides to do this experimental treatment. This treatment that will allow her daughter to go back through time to talk to women from their ancestral line. And one of them is Afong, who is a real person. She was the first Chinese woman to land here on the lands of America. And so she is actually like sort of the center ground piece of this whole thing. And the daughter talks to many different women that are sort of part of this line that lead up to her, and sort of how that whole thing comes together to help her understand who she is and where she comes from. I think it sounds fantastic. Jamie always makes me cry a little bit. He makes me smile quite often, and he knows how to tug a heartstrings. So that's The Many Daughters of Afong, and this is out from Atria Books by Jamie Ford. Get your hands on it as soon as possible, because I bet you people will be talking about it. I promise. The next book I want to talk about is Mercury Pictures Presents by Anthony Marra. This is Anthony's third book. Now, he was his first book was A Constellation of Vital Phenomena. And then his second book, I always get the title a little bit wrong, so I apologize. It's The The Czar of Love and Techno, which was a collection of interconnected short stories, which I believe was long-listed for the National Book Award, and he won the John Leonard Prize from the National Book Circle Award. I always get that a little bit funky, but so he is, he's amazing. I have a funny story. So I was obsessed with the constellation of Vital Phenomenon. I was talking about it all the time with all my friends, and I walked into a bookstore, Mrs. Dalloway's in Berkeley, California. If you've never been, it's fantastic. And he was there. He was hand selling books. It was like a bookseller day, and I was starstruck. He later had lunch with me, signed all my books. He is an amazing person. So Mercury Pictures Presents takes place at sort of the start of World War II, right when America is about to enter the war. Our main character is a young Italian woman who comes over to America. She's fleeing because her father has been arrested for a childhood incident, and she comes to America and she becomes part of the movie industry in Hollywood. She works for Mercury Pictures. I think she's like an associate producer or something. But her life is basically falling apart. America's about to enter the war. She's having issues with her mother. She's having issues with her boyfriend. And all of that's going to come together. And I love what it says here. It says, as the bright lights go dark across Los Angeles, Mercury Pictures becomes a nexus of European immigrants, modernist poets trying their luck at B-movie screenwriters, once celebrated architects becoming scale model miniaturists, and refugee actors finding work playing the very villains they fled. A couple of my friends have actually already read this. I just picked these up. I bought both of these for myself. Just got them this weekend, and they really loved it. So I'm really, really excited. For Mercury Pictures Presents by Anthony Marra. This is out from Hogarth, and you can get your hands on it right now. The next book is an author that needs no introduction. Actually, I have a couple of those in this stack, and I believe this book just came out. I don't have an exact release date, but I believe I saw a finished copy in someone's pictures, and that's Elizabeth Finch by Julian Barnes. This is out from Knopf. Julian Barnes, what can be said about him? He is fan-freaking-tastic. This is the story of sort of unrequited intellectual infatuation. We have Elizabeth Finch, who is sort of at the center of this book. She is a professor. She's a teacher. I believe her class is called Culture and Civilization. And we have a young man who takes her class, a class not only for young students, but for people, for adults. And he just becomes absolutely infatuated with her and her ideas, and how her ideas sort of what's the word I'm looking for? They sort of become part of who he is. They are an important part of the way he thinks about the world. Even after she passes away, he does not lose his connection to Elizabeth Finch. I don't know, Julian Barnes could write almost anything, and I would love it. I love this idea, this intellectual love affair, unrequited love affair. I think that sounds quite poetically romantic. So, Elizabeth Finch, Julian Barnes, out from Knopf, and I believe it just came out right now, or it's coming out very, very soon. You can get your hands on it as very, very soon, or now. I can't quite remember. Coming out at the end of the month is actually a book that I've talked about a couple of times already, and that's The Witches of Moonshyne Manor by Bianca Marius. This is Bianca's third book, right, Bianca? It is her third book, and if you have not heard me absolutely rave about If You Want to Make God Laugh, then you haven't been on my channel enough, because when I read that book, I talked about it incessantly. Her first novel was Hum If You Don't Know the Words, which I loved as well, but Make God Laugh just has always been, it was so good. And her new book, which I actually started before I started the Booker long list, so I'm going to get back to it, was described to me as a Golden Girls / practical magic sort of thing, and I was bought in. So we have a coven of witches that live in a house, and people are, angry because they're behind on their mortgage. And there's, I think, 5 of them. And things don't look good. They're all looking to their leader. And then a member of their group appears who hasn't been there for 30 some odd years, and all of that stuff. I don't need a ton more in order to dive into any Bianca Marius book. And the fun of this one just sounds amazing. And I believe there's even a feisty TikToker or something like that. Yes. Who is out to smash the patriarchy. So I think it's going to be super, super fun. She's just Bianca writes books that you want to read, and you just sit down and you start, and you just don't want to stop. So I absolutely am super excited to continue this one, and that's The Witches of Moonshyne Manor, out from by Bianca Marius, out from Mira, and this comes out on August 23rd, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, get your hands on it. I believe if you haven't read any of Bianca, I would say get a hand on all of her books. Actually, I would say get a hand on all of these people's books, because they're absolutely amazing. So probably the author that I've read the least of, or have the newest relationship with, probably not the least of, but I've had the newest relationship with, is Tamsyn Muir. And I think you guys have heard me talk about Gideon the Ninth and Harrow the Ninth. They are the first two books in this amazing necromancy, queer fantasy series. I cannot tell you, I flew through Gideon. I loved Harrow. Though Harrow was a bit more confusing, I had to use my brain a little bit more, and I cannot wait to see what she's going to do to wrap it up. Every book has a different main character. And in this one, our main character, the city she lives in is under siege. Zombies are coming back. And all she wants is a birthday party. She doesn't really know where she's from or who she is. And I believe we're on the same planet from the first two books. So I'm not going to ruin anything, because I hear big things are sort of unveiled in this book. And I cannot wait. This comes out in September. And this is Nona the Ninth. So read Gideon the Ninth. Read Harrow the Ninth. Pre-order Nona the Ninth. Tamsyn Muir. This is out from TOR.com, and it is fantastic. They are amazing, and this series is so good. Trust me, if that's your thing, I promise you will absolutely love it. Funny story, I was in Powell's bookstore, and I was like picking up books, and I picked up Gideon. No, I picked up another book. I picked up A Deadly Education by Novick. Is that how you say her last name? And this woman walked up to me out of nowhere. I was minding my own business, and she goes, "That's really good, but you really should read this one." And it was Gideon the Ninth. And I was like, oh yeah, everyone should read that one. So it was a fun little story. Another author that needs no introduction, I have not read all of her books, but I have read many because she is fantastic, and that is the amazing Kate Atkinson. Her new novel, Shrines of Gaiety, is coming out from DoubleDay. This comes out in September. Let me see if I can give you an exact date, if it's on this piece of paper. It's not on this paper. Let's see if it's on the back. September 27th, 2022. I mean, Life After Life is amazing, but all of Kate Atkinson is so good. So this takes place in 1926 after World War I. We are in London, which is still recovering, and there's this new sense of nightlife in the clubs of Soho. And our main character, her name is Nellie Coker, is like this, I think the words are notorious queen of the nightlife, and she is doing everything. She is manipulating every situation she can to get her 6 children what they need, to advance her 6 children in the world. But when you're in the nightlife, when you're in that seedy underbelly, you don't not make enemies, right? And so she has enemies, there's things that come up, and you're just recovering from the war. London is still doing all of that stuff too. So that's Kate Atkinson's Shrines of Gaiety, out from DoubleDay. Again, this comes out on September 27th, 2022. It is like always an exciting thing when actually all of these people have a book out, but Kate Atkinson, it's usually a good read, right? One of my favorite authors, I've said this about a couple of these authors, that I've read every book they've written. And I believe this is this author's 3rd book, and I believe I've read everything they've written, at least in novel form. And that is On the Rooftop by Margaret, Wilkerson, Sexton. This is coming out from Ecco Books, and it will be out in September. Let me see if I have an actual date. It just says September 2022. I don't have an actual date. You may remember I have raved about the Revisioners. What was the name of her first book? Blanking, hold please. Oh, it's not in here, I don't think. Oh, it is. Oh, A Kind of Freedom, which was longlisted for the National Book Award. Both fantastic reads. And this one actually takes place really near home. So Margaret, I think she's like local to me. And so I often see her at bookstores in Oakland. But this takes place in San Francisco. And this is the story of the Salvations, which are a girl group made up of a group of sisters and their mother, who is sort of the driving force of everything that is going on. And eventually what happens is a talent manager who starts to takes notice of the Salvations, is going to propel them into stardom. But the girls, these young girls, are turning into women now, and they have their own ideas of what they want their life to be. And they have dreams that their mother may not even understand. It sort of is like almost feels like a gypsy-esque tale to me, but it has a little bit of dream girls in it. You know what I'm talking about. But I can't wait. I trust Margaret with my reading life. She always takes really good care of me. So I'm super excited for On the Rooftop by Margaret Wilkerson Sexton. This is coming out in September from Ecco Books. Get your hands on it. Trust me, and if you haven't read her other books, I'm telling you right now, they're fantastic. There are a lot of authors on this list now that I sit here that this is their third book and I've read everything they've written. That's the case for the next author, the amazing Celeste Ng, and her new book, Our Missing Hearts. This is coming out from Penguin Press, and this comes out on October 4th. And Little Fires Everywhere was everywhere. It was a show. It had Kerry Washington. It had Reese Witherspoon. It was fantastic. And her first book, Everything I Never Told You, so good. And then this one I think has gotten 4-star reviewed. So hopefully we'll see this on some awards list this year. But I'm going to actually get a little help on this one so I can make sure that I summarize it correctly. So, 12-year-old Bird Gardner lives a quiet existence with his loving but broken father, a former linguist who now shelves books in a university library. Bird knows to not ask too many questions, stand out too much, or stray too far. For a decade, their lives have been governed by the laws written to preserve American culture in the wake of years of economic instability and violence. To keep the peace and restore prosperity, the authorities are now allowed to relocate children of dissidents, especially those of Asian origin, and libraries have been forced to remove books seen as unpatriotic, including the work of Bird's mother, Margaret, a Chinese-American poet who left the family when he was 9 years old. Bird has grown up disavowing his mother and her poems. He doesn't know her work or what happened to her, and he knows he shouldn't wonder. But when he receives a mysterious letter containing only a cryptic drawing, he is pulled into a quest to find her. His journey will take him back to the many folktales she poured into his head as a child, through the ranks of an underground network of librarians, into the lives of children who have been taken, and finally to New York City, where a new act of defiance may be the beginning of much-needed change. So you sort of had me at underground network of the librarians, but this book sounds amazing. It sounds like it just sounds like Celeste Ng in all her brilliance being brilliant yet again. So this is Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. This is out from Penguin Press on October 4th, did I say? October 4th, 2022. That is the day before my grandmother's birthday, just in case you want to know. She would have been 95 this year. So, special day. So, next is another literary superstar, Cormac McCarthy. I have read everything, I think, but 2 Cormac McCarthy books. And he actually has 2 books coming out. I'm just holding one up, and that's The Passenger, because it comes out first. And this one comes out in October of 2022. And I believe the 2 books, in a way, connect. And I hope once I've had a chance to read them, I'll sort of be able to articulate that a little bit more. So this is, at the center of this is a sunken jet. There's 9 passengers and a missing body. And it's the story of a salvage diver. It says, haunted by lost, afraid of the watery deep, pursued for a conspiracy beyond his understanding, and longing for a death he cannot reconcile with God. You know, Cormac McCarthy, I always am amazed at he has this sort of very masculine tone when he writes. And it always has sort of this very, I don't know how to say it. but there's a poetic nature to his writing that I just find really rugged, if that makes any sense. I think he's a brilliant writer. I think All the Pretty Horses is my favorite Cormac McCarthy so far. And I'm super excited that we're getting 2 new books from him this year. This is out from Knopf. This is coming out in October. Let me see if I have an exact date. Just says October, so I don't. But this is The Passenger, out from Knopf by Cormac McCarthy. He needs no introduction from me, right? Needs no introduction from me. Last but not least is another author. Have I read? Yes, I have read, but this is his 4th book. I think I haven't read his short story collection, if I'm being honest. I have not read his short story collection, but I have read everything else that Kevin Wilson has written. And his new book, Now Is Not the Time to Panic, is out from Ecco Books, and it comes out in November. Let me see if I can get you exact. It just says November 2022. I should know that because Ecco usually just puts a month and a year. So this is the story of, it starts as the story of 16-year-old Frankie. She is an aspiring writer, an indifferent student. She's got this sort of loner, offbeat sort of character, which is very Kevin Wilson. But she's just trying to make it through the summer when she meets a young boy, Zeke, who is a talented artist. And they start to have this sort of romantic, creative relationship. And I love this, it says, they jointly make this unsigned poster. Shot through with an enigmatic phrase, it becomes unforgettable to anyone who sees it. The Edge is a shanty town filled with gold seekers. We are fugitives, and the law is skinny with hunger for us. And those posters begin to appear everywhere, and people are trying to figure out who's behind it. They say, is it Satanists? Is it kidnappers? What is going on? And there it says, there's a mystery that's dangerous that occurs that has repercussions that sort of go throughout the whole town. And then we flip to 20 years later, where Francis Budge gets a call that threatens to sort of upheave her carefully curated life. A journalist wants to talk about the coal-filled panic of 1996 and wants to know what Francis may know about it. He has a way of making you laugh, a way of making you feel uncomfortable, and also a way of sort of touching your hearts in a way that you wouldn't think about. And I love all his books. I love their humor, and I love their sensitivity, and I really, really am a huge Kevin Wilson fan. So that's Now Is Not the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson, and this is out from Ecco Books. So that is 10 books. This is a long video, but they are all amazing, and I had to tell you all about them. Favorite authors with new books. I mean, what can I do? What can I do? As always, if you are a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. Thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, thank you. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell, do all those fancy things. I really, really do appreciate you. Until next time, I encourage you to read locally, read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Siri wanted to get in on that. I wasn't going to let her. Bye, everyone.